Right now, looking like they're in a good spot, but Willowkeeper most certainly going to have to say something against or about that even. They first picked the Glacius yet again. Really, really, really value this hero. Magnus, first pick coming up for a reason. The bans, by the way, Clanks, Puppet Master, Swiftblade, Cthulhu Fawn. So a slight difference, but Clanks once again banned. No Oogie, though. That's the first thing that's standing out to me. And things are looking pretty familiar so far on Reason's side. Over here, already with the Solstice Magnus. I wonder if they would actually do an Oogie here with the third pick.
Yeah, I wonder
wait.
as well. Was the Oogie third pick in the last game?
See, I don't.
I think it was fourth.
I think it was probably fourth. Yeah, I don't think it was third.
I believe it's all fifth, but because I'm pretty sure we're gonna see it. Like I think there's two ways we can go around this. Either it's gonna get banned in the second pick phase, or True are gonna be like, look, this is the way. This is how you beat Oogie. This is what we're gonna play. Because put simply, they have to address him either by banning him out or having a particular strategy to sort of take him out. We'll have to see how Tree are going to do it. I'm pretty sure they're going to ban him out because it's easier than trying to find a strategy against him. But we'll have to see. But yeah, like you said, first pick Glacius, man. Fusion just is in love with the Glacius. All the other teams are like first picking Magnus because normally, like obviously, Cthulhu or Swiftblade's banned out. And nope, Fusion's like Glacius, man. It works.
Well, we'll take Glacius every single time. And I kind of wonder about that a little bit. Being the support player himself, and not that that's a bad thing. We see other teams such as Sync Esports, even of course having Insani as their captain, but picking a hero that he just prefers to play in the end rather than what makes sense for the overall lineup. But
there's Oogie
there
there.
you go.
That's what it is, man. I think it's less about Fusion's like, no, we're going to pick this hero because I can play it and this is the hero I want to play. I think it's more because it fits first of all, the team style quite well. The increased mana is quite nice in terms of sort of the laning phase, but also the biggest thing I think about Glacius is his versatility. Like you pick up Glacius, first of all, it doesn't sort of show what you're going to do in terms of the lanes or in terms of your strategy. And secondly, it can work in almost any lane, any kind of strategy as well. So the versatility is perfect for a first pick because you're not giving anything away, and it can work in whatever strategy you want to sort of go with the draft. And I think that's why we normally see him first picked up here. Like you first pick Magnus, and it sort of slightly tells your opponent what you're going to do, and also you're sort of forced to play a certain particular way as well. Magnus in that sort of role.
Yeah.
And I can understand Futon with that. And again, I don't think he's not being selfish in that respect in terms of I've got to play Glacius, but
no.
We'll have to see. Their Flux picked up though, but again, the Oogie, man. Tree will definitely have to have ways of dealing with it because I just think it's too strong not to have ways or address it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess
it's like even as you pointed out last game, they addressed it pretty well, at least earlier on stage. They just like kind of feel like doing that eventually, or is this just how the hero works?
Well, I mean, like Sync have clearly shown this is how you beat Oogie. You beat you in the laning phase. Nullstone have sort of shown it by putting it in, giving Oogie a bad lane. Like when Nullstone played it last time, they did an aggressive dual lane with Oogie and he had bad farm. Give Oogie bad farm, you're gonna lose with him, put simply. But Tree, I don't think they shut down Oogie enough. They got the first initial kill on him, and they were running an aggressive tri-lane. But Oogie, by I think the 10-minute mark, he had 300 GPM. And if you're on an aggressive tri-lane against him, that should never ever happen. So Tree, I think the supports are maybe rotating a little bit too much and not shutting down Oogie and not really prioritise, shutting down Oogie as much as they should have. If they do it this game, if they keep Oogie at the 150 GPM, which they could have easily done as an aggressive tri-lane, then I think they'll be in a lot better position. Yeah. It's only because Imberboy bounced back so well in the laning phase, to have 300 GPM, that he eventually carried with 600 GPM in the late game.
You know what I'd love to see it? We're probably not going to see it, though, because they already have. But I want to see how powerful a Mora is, actually, against Oogie. The idea is they're just like a Mage Band. Now, we've seen Mage Band kind of fail, in a sense, against Oogie, to be fair. But it seems like Mora's W, of course, I forget what they even call it. But anyways, the one where drains all the mana. It seems like that would be a pretty powerful tool, a.k.a. Mana Sunder, against an Oogie. So I wonder when one of these teams is going to be like, okay, maybe this is the counter to Oogie. Try it out. There's the silhouette, though, and I can guarantee you're happy.
I'm loved, mate. And I don't actually see Tree play a lot of silhouettes, to be honest. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to play it. Silhouette, they might even try and run some kind of maybe split pushing potential with Silhouette, because Oogie, he's a great team fighter, but he doesn't have the greatest catch potential. Even when he picks up the sheep stick, it's not going to be too useful against Silhouette because Silhouette is a natural nullstone carrier. So perhaps they're going to, in terms of team fights, try and kite down the Oogie, and if they can't beat him in team fights, then try and run the split push and see if they can sort of rat their way to the victory, for example. But we'll have to see. I think the one time I've seen Tree pick up Silhouette, I think it was against Sync Esports, and they were doing very, very well with it, but then Sync just eventually took it with superior team fight when they started running like the Tempest and Ophelia. But I guess we'll have to see how they're going to run it. They've got Flux picked up though. Good old Cracky Flux. And then Cracky I can guarantee Flux will be, Cracky will be on the Flux. Because like I said before, Cracky loves these sort of tanky sort of heroes like Armadon, Crack and Flux. I mean, we do see him sometimes play like the Bubbles or Pharaoh, but he says to me like, oh man, just put me on Armadon, but Fuzi won't let me.
Armadon, one of those heroes that we have not seen in Hunter Season 3, as we saw on that list yesterday. So, Witch Slayer coming out. All right.
A great hero against Silhouette, obviously, because the W and the E instantly kill illusions. So one of the, we talked about Electrician as a great counter to Silhouette, but Witch Slayer is arguably better because normally with Electrician, obviously, you have to run him as a core, like in the Suicide lane. But with Witch Slayer, you could run as a secondary support, and if you're running a secondary to support, if you're running a secondary support to sort of counter, the position 1 of Tree, then you're in a good position. Oh my God, Frankie, you are on it, man! You are on it.
Well, there we go. Okay, see, with their lineup, it's like they already had Riftwalker Glacier, so I figured, but they're going to try a Suicide Moira here.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I have no idea. The E does the E give XP?
The E does not give XP, I want to say. I'm fairly certain on that, but...
I'm not a Moira player, so unfortunately I couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't say for sure, but it could help her, maybe get some last hits in there, but... Yeah, this is a risky play in a sense, so...
Well, I mean, if they don't try and counter Oogie, then you saw what happened in Game 1 break.
Yeah.
Exactly. They got to play risky, and I think, playing risky is it's kind of a strategy that Tree like to do. I mean, they play innovative strategy, they play kind of funky, they've got players that are very aggressive, and perhaps this is kind of maybe the motivation they need, Who knows? Like, they've got nothing to lose kind of thing. It's they lose this game, they're out kind of thing. Yeah. It's all on the mind
place,
right now.
Whatever, but if we win, we found an answer to Oogie, and that would be a good thing for them, so...
They're all in, man. They're all in.
Yeah. You see they're going to the Kongor pit. I don't think they're going to be doing Kongor, but...
They're trying to do sneaky
in
five-man
that area, but look at Reason. They're prepared.
They might even try... Oh, man, they get like a 4-man stun. Yeah, they're going to do it.
Oh, my gosh. What a line set to start things off. Flux, now he's tanky. So not the target you want to go on. Great cascading event as well from Riftwalker.
That was so
should be fine, Zane. Yeah.
That was so well played by Fuzen. Nier would have got a 4-man line stun with the... what is it called? The blinding rush, but Glacius actually stopped it. So Solstice actually spec the Q, which I think is the right play to make. But Glacius stopped the 4-man stun from Solstice because he ice imprisoned on him. So great play from Fuzen. If that does not hit off there, that would have been disastrous for Tree there. They could have easily got 3 or 4-man wipes because of that one 4-man stun from Solstice. So great play from Fuzen. And now this is actually kind of bad because now Solstice obviously doesn't have any way of really farming the jungle outside of pulling. So if Solstice is easily going to be delayed in terms of his farming capabilities because he spec'd it.
God, this is interesting though. So, so this Witch Slayer pickup. Now we're talking about secondary support, but again, it's played by Embry here because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had a Solstice.
Of course.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't think of the Solstice. Apologies.
He's going to be with Rhapsody here at least initially.
No. He needs to be 1v1. Hero needs early levels to be useful.
Okay.
I like the hero pick though. Like even if he's not secondary support, I think it's decent. I mean, obviously with him being a core, he's going to most likely pick up a portal key. So in that respect, it's a decent hero against Silhouette because not only can the W and E instantly kill illusions, he's got a line stun that is sort of targeted on the floor. So even in the null stun, he's not going to do anything for Silhouette in that respect.
Yeah. You guys see Moira right there taking advantage right away of the Ephemeral Forge, actually doing kind of a creep pull to an extent at the bottom lane. You see a big creep wave as a result right there coming out for Reason Gaming, so trying to take advantage of that right there. Again, I don't know honestly if it gives experience or not, so that's one of those things. I'm sure chat will have their opinions when that catches up in 6 minutes, but we'll kind of have to see how it turns out. But you see right here, holy crap, Rhapsody. A lot of harassment. Now, he did go the boots first for this reason right here. so he can quickly get away when it calls for it. So, but
At least he's going to get XP though now. He
yeah,
can easily get XP.
it's going to be an XP range, which is good. And see, this is also kind of curious to do. Now, I guess E first. Now, E is, of course, one of those kind of 1.1ers. In fact, I'm not even sure. How does it scale? It's actually, he's taking some good damage right here. He needs to dodge another target. He's going to dodge that one. Very good standstill by Boxy.
That was insane.
That was a great heads up on his part to avoid that. But the scaling is, it looks like, okay, so it makes it last a little bit longer range and lose it. So it's good to level up eventually, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see something like a Q level at max first, and then also getting the W up, the Mana Sunder on top of that. So, because again, especially against that Oogie, that's kind of safe to say that's the reason why they picked it Moira here. It's not like they just randomly decided to choose Moira, so want to get that Mana Sunder. And again, so Mana Sunder, the idea of the ability, it'll not only destroy all their mana, of course they'll start regenerating over time after a couple of seconds, but when they use an ability, it goes straight back to 0 no matter how much mana they used for that ability. And on top of that, it will also do some great damage, especially with somebody like Oogie's mana pool, 4 times their intelligence in magic damage is what it does. So yeah, it has potential to be pretty damn big this game, but again, I just don't know if that's actually going to work, and I'm sure Tree's kind of under that same boat.
They probably don't know either.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out how powerful it truly is against Oogie.
I think on paper it can work very, very well, but I think honestly this Switch Lite is going to have a big impact, particularly against the Silhouette. Honestly, so we'll have to see what or how Battlestar is going to try and play it as a result. Because I mean, just Witchlight is just such a great hero against Silhouette. And I mean, to be fair, we don't see a lot of sort of heroes being picked up simply to counter other people. Normally, we'd be like, okay, we got to pick up this hero because it's a strong hero, not because this hero counters this one kind of thing. So it's kind of good that we're starting to see the draft becoming a little bit more sort of logical in that respect.
Oh, Courier actually gonna take a couple of hits, one away from death, but he does manage to get away and get it away in the process. So. Okay, close right there, but in the end, no cigar. You got Oogie. Again, he's farming very well, as you would expect. 29 right here, more only 2-1, but again, really getting the levels. That's the big thing. You see he's going to use that Shards of Harkon. Yeah, Shards of Harkon right there to get my, I did the spotlight for this video, or for this hero, of course, but it's been a little bit here, so we've only seen her once, and that was by Sync Esports in one of the grand finals, and the team as a whole just, they dominated really, so. It wasn't really much we got to see. At the same time, again, her potential, I love the idea of the hero, and her potential's great. I mean, look at that damage, man. Shards of Harkon is not a, not something to be reckoned with, man. It is something to be reckoned with more so. Witchslayer is to get some good damage. Bloodlust kill comes out. Cascading Event pulled him in initially, and that helped out Flux to finish him off. They love this combo. It's not only Rift Rocker, it's a Rift Rocker Flux combo, man. Yeah. That works very well, so.
And Cracky, man, you put Cracky on a hero you feel comfortable with, and he starts hitting like 400 GPM only 4 minutes in. So obviously the Bloodlust helping with that. But yeah, just good rotation from Root as well. And I think this is probably the biggest thing about running a secondary support in the jungle kind of thing is, like, you compare this to sort of like maybe an Ethereal or a Tempest. Like a Riftwalker level 5 is going to be far more useful than a level 5 a Tempest or a level 5 Ophelia kind of thing, so in terms of sort of ganking. And as a result, good rotation from Root, not only helping the lanes, but also increasing his farm a little bit as well. So,
look at Silhouette up here, 22-9 against a Magnus who's 9-3. So it's safe to say Silhouette Baltazar, he's off to a pretty solid start. Also, an interesting. This must be a newer skin, I think.
Yeah, it's. I think that it actually was a little bit buggy. Like you drop loads of FPS on it actually, because I play a lot of Silhouette, but it's fixed now. So.
Okay. Moira trying to get active, and again, this is the idea of what can actually make her a pretty powerful suicide. Is that she can be very active, almost like a pharaoh in a sense. Elsewhere with that ephemeral forge of her, she uses it right there, but unfortunately not really able to follow up the strongest with it. But again, the idea that's going to be used and trying to be active with it is a good thing. I'm also, of course, very curious to see how she uses her ultimate, the Arcane Vortex. It's one of those, it can really screw you over, but can also set up teamfights very well.
If you think about it, though, it's probably one of the best games for Moira, not only because obviously he's countering Oogie, but it's a very, very good sort of counterspell to Magnus Eruption, actually. When Magnus Eruption sort of jumps in, if you can get as many people as possible with your Arcane Vortex, then it's going to completely nullify the Eruption from Magnus.
True.
So really nice play in that respect. So I think it'd be more defensive Arcane Vortexes. Whenever Magnus will jump in, she'll try and sort of use it to sort of nullify any kind of damage, which is very, very big. And yeah, I mean, Moira is one of those heroes that actually it counters a lot of top picks nowadays. Like, Magnus is one of probably the top most picked hero because it's not good enough to sort of ban compared to say Swiftblade or Cthulhu, but if it is on the board, most teams will first pick it every single time. So yeah, Moira, man, The new up and coming hero.
More strong. She's using Ephemeral Forge right here, but she's gonna unfortunately port into a couple of other heroes, and you see right away, not gonna turn out the best. Well, you get a Shards of Harkon off, but that'll just delay the inevitable of finally just having to fall back. And not the biggest deal though, because again, mana cost wise, I mean, you look at her, it's only 25 mana to use the Ephemeral Forge. It's just a matter of the cooldown. And then the Shards of Harkon, you know, not the most, and she is an agility hero. With that said, so I don't know where the intelligence gain is necessarily. I assume it's, you know, fairly decent, but we'll need some stat items here. Eventually, 2.1. There we go. Actually leveling up the Ephemeral Forge, by the way, which I do find a little curious.
I like it. The reason being is because obviously the Ephemeral Forge is something that's needed to be useful in terms of ganking. Like obviously increases the range, increases the duration, and reduces the cooldown. And although you're talking about obviously that the Mana Sunder is the reason why she's picking up, you know, why she's picked up in this game, the Mana Sunder will be useful in team fights, and she'll be level 13 or 14 before the big team fights are happening. And when she gets level 14, she'll have max Mana Sunder anyway. So getting it this early is not really useful because she won't be using it in team fights, but simply. So I like the item sort of choice, or the skill build of what she's going for now.
Well, yes and no, honestly. I honestly think that it's almost got a kind of reverse logic that I had earlier, but in a sense, Mana Sunder can be seen as a one-point wonder because in the end, the one point of it will be a silence in a sense. It will drain the mana pool, you know, for that 1 second at least, and it'll kind of screw them up as far as, so sure it wouldn't be doing the most damage, and you know you're not looking
in the laning phase. Like in the laning phase, it's not going to do barely anything. Like they're not going to take team fights at like level 6 or level 7. She'll probably pick it up maybe like level 6 or level 7 perhaps.
Oh, actually, speaking of level 6, by the way, which there, oh, what a turn! He just quickly turns and takes out Riftwalker right there. Silhouette in the meantime, she's going for a kind of go self. She will get it Flux with the discharge pull and pulls back Solstice. And now he's going to have to try to chase Glacius instead. You see the health pot on his Silhouette. Allows it to regen. Tree Grapple does hit Solstice. They're going to take out Witchslayer in the background. Catching it. Solstice. Yes, she can. Beautiful teamwork right there. And great play from Baltazar especially. Coming out and getting the kill in the end. Yeah, that started off with Riftwalker getting quick picked by Witchslayer, but the long result was actually well in favor of Willowkeeper there.
Just good rotations from Flux, and obviously great play from Baltazar as well. He backs off, health pots up, and then turns not onto the Witchslayer because he knows that's already a guaranteed kill, turns onto the Solstice and gets that kill as well. So great play out from Tree. And I mean, the laning phase is again becoming very, very well here for Tree. It's just, you know, can they turn that into the advantage they need in the mid game as well is the question.
See Rift Burn used right there, kind of farming a little bit as Riftwalker is at that bottom lane now. Moira's in the jungle right here, so they're going to try to get her some nice levels and a little bit of farm as kind of making up for how this game started in a sense. Of course, Silhouette is doing her own thing at the top lane with that said, and actually getting some great farm herself at 386 gold per minute, but actually leading the way happens to be the Flux. Geez, I haven't even really noticed that, but yeah, cracking on that Flux. 400 plus gold per minute right now. Another 1,000 gold saved up. So again, it goes back to, are we going to see that in Sanitarius style build?
Astrolabe, I think.
You think Astrolabe makes sense here?
Astrolabe into Sanitarius. Like Astrolabe, like if you think about Flux, always builds sort of braces because you know it's just such a good item for him. You know, cheap in that respect. But you know, if you can turn it into like an Astrolabe as well, it's not only good for you but good for your whole team as well. So yeah, I think it'd be Astrolabe into Sanitarius because that's the build that Cracky does. You know, and it works very, very well as well. So.
Oh, there's the pull in on a Witchslayer. Look at the combo coming out from Cracker right there. He does have the Arcane Vortex, or Moira coming in, but no! The Shards of Harkon didn't actually go off, but it doesn't matter as Embry still falls right there. So, yeah, the illusion actually got picked up before it got there in time. Silhouette picks off Rhapsody in the meantime. What a statement game here from Tree. They're just off to a huge start of 6-1 hero kill lead now. So, sure, Moira's a fun pick to see, but honestly, this is just teamwork overall. It's just really working, especially Cracky on that Flux. He's making some solid plays. And Baltazar, of course, being 3-0-0 doesn't hurt either, as he's well on his way to Nullstone. So it's trying to find positive for this Legion team. It's not too hard. I mean, they got Oogie at 370 gold per minute. So in a sense, really, you know, we stress this strategy of you got to lock down Oogie from the beginning or else it can get overwhelming like last game. Tree's almost doing kind of a different strategy, though, here. It's like they're saying, you know what, Oogie's going to get farmed. We're fine with that. We're going to lock down everyone else, and then eventually have Moira and, you know, whatever else to deal with Oogie as the game picks up.
They've got counters to Oogie. Like, if you don't have counters to Oogie, then you kind of have to shut him down from the start. But, you know, they've got Moira in that respect. So even if he does go into the mid to late game, they've got ways to deal with him. Even the split push from Silhouette as well in the late game, as I stated before. So they've got ways to deal with him, so they don't have to focus him too much in terms of the laning phase.
You see Riftwalker being very patient here in the middle lane, waiting for her first wormhole of the game, seeing if anyone's going to come here. Of course, Flux on top of that. It's a great combo. He is going the Incendiaries first, by the way, choosing to pass up the Astrolabe. And,
I guess that makes a little bit of sense. They're not doing a lot of team fights, and probably in terms of laning and ganking, Ashton Sanitarius might be a lot more useful than the Astrolabe, but he might go back for it, honestly. But I guess we'll have to see.
They're going to try to bait right now. Riftwalker's bottom lane trying to bait, as they were diving a little bit, but they've fallen back by now. And actually, both Oogie and Solstice instead going to farm elsewhere. Oogie does already have the Gnome's Wisdom, though, on top
Silhouette's
of the
baiting.
Steam
Illusion.
Boots. Is that Illusion up top? Yeah, she's baiting with the Illusion right here. We'll see if they fall for it. They are going to fall for it. They realize the Eruption!
Oh my god!
And as soon as you started canceling that, I guarantee he's probably like, ah, shit. What am I doing? Great job right there. In fact, here we go with the Ephemeral Forge. Cuts off. There goes the Arcane Vortex. They're going to go inside. Shards of Harkon applied. And Magnus in a lot of trouble right now. No, he stuns away. Disjoints the stun from the Shards of Harkon. But it doesn't matter. Zane is going to be picked off for the long run. So, that's obviously a great tool of the Arcane Vortex. It will delay, allowing your teammates to get in position, kind of like a Succubus Sleep, and eventually go for the kill. So, great play, though, from Treeman.
Yeah, I mean, particularly Boxy as well, or just them using the Mora quite well, because not only obviously the Arcane Vortex, but they're reusing Mora to its fullest extent, chasing with the Ephemeral Forge because it has incredible range, little things like that. It's just quite interesting to see, and clearly they are quite well versed with using Mora in obviously competitive matches.
13 minutes into this game right now. I mean, you look at Willowkeeper, it's we were talking about yesterday, and even that after that first game, the decision-making here and there just doesn't seem Willowkeeper-esque. Not really here today, or here, playing their best. But holy crap, things have changed from one game to the next.
I told you,
they are
it's
just completely playing on the ball here.
Guess having that little bit of sort of stress factor, if they lose this game, they are going to be out. Gave them that kind of motivation and
there's the
emphasis
wormhole coming out on Oogie. You see more as well. Shards of Far could apply with that Ephemeral Forge. Oogie, she's tanky, but she ain't tanky enough, even close to it, as they just completely collapse as a team. Even Flux joined the party and ultimately help set up the kill or get the kill onto Oogie right there. So again, Oogie, the one factor that's doing very well here for Reason Gaming. He even gets picked off despite being that 400 plus GPM, but hey, when they're ganking as a team like that, it's not much they can do to stop them. Now, Oogie was pushed up pretty far, to be fair, with no support nearby, so you could almost fault Imba Boy there to an extent. Despite being so farmed early on, it gets a team that clearly has a lot of catch potential and a lot of team fight synergy. It's a little bit risky, and that did not pay off. So probably learn his mistake from that and not overextend next time. But triple stack Ancients in the meantime. Flux is going to come over here to help at least assist with farm with Riftwalker and Glacius. You see how quickly they're going to be able to burst them down. Jeez. Those were triple stack Ancients 5 seconds ago, and now they're dead. So good job by the team once again as well. And,
she does get XP, by the way.
Does she? You notice that right there?
Yeah, I was noticing. I was looking at her XP, and then she just went over to the Ancients. So, yeah, I guess the hero is decent in the Suicide lane, because even if you can't lane, you can somewhat lane with the Ephemeral Force kind of thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, again, I love the idea of this here, and I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, been suggesting it's like, oh, she's just not really that great. But I mean, her support, her secondary support utility, and hell, even to Suicide apparently, the Ephemeral Forge is such a strong. I'm so glad we're seeing Boxy using it, abusing the ability basically as he should be, because it is such a strong tool. And again, the Shards of Harkon is also a very, very powerful stun on top of that. And again, we're seeing a more. She's not even having the whole Oogie impact yet. This is the reason they picked her up was for the Oogie counter,
exactly.
And we're not even seeing that played yet she's already having such a huge impact. So that should tell you something about the hero that maybe teams should start looking at her, honestly. So
definitely, and also, I mean, it's awesome with this is that she can farm the enemy jungle without having any kind of potential ramifications kind of thing. Like, if this was actually Mora herself, if she gets spotted by Reason, she's going to die, and then the whole play was bad. But she could just farm the enemy jungle, have better resource control, and at the same time be completely safe at the same time, which is kind of cool and kind of interesting at the same time.
Solstice doing what he can here in the jungle, just like the rest of his teammates. I mean, hell, remember, this is also a Witch Slayer that's technically was a mid-Witch Slayer, really. And, I mean, it's almost as if his items speak for that. He was more of a support at this point. He's got Striders on top of a Amulet of Exile. So, obviously, Embry hasn't been able to get much farm. And, again, he's not alone in that. Really, everyone else but Oogie has just been really struggling here. So, once again, Recent Gaming kind of falling back on that here at this time. Oogie is level 11, though. and does have that 400 plus gold per minute. But you look at Flux and Silhouette, both nearly 475, 490 even. On a Flux right there. Nullstone, of course, on Silhouette. Another 1,800 gold saved up for her. We talked about the Insanitarius, and there's an Ice Brand already follow up. Jeez. Cracky right here. So, yeah, he's going all out. I'm going to be huge, not only a huge tank in a sense, but I'm going to be putting out some good damage as well amongst these fights here. So, again, Cracky very comfortable with the hero and clearly showing once again why here. And what is that? Game number 2 where Recent Gaming, of course, took the first game. So, you look at what Recent Gaming can do right now. Again, they're trying to get that farm and another hero such as Magnus, who's getting close to the portal key. It didn't go the greatest build up here because of the slower start, but again has 1,500 gold saved up now, so that ideally will be coming up here shortly. They tried to deny the middle lane, are unsuccessful though, and there's now a portal key on Silhouette on top of it all. Coming out here too, so. Hell, plated Greaves on Fusin. I'm sure he's liking that. The fact that he could get that.
Yeah, I think we were talking about, I was talking to Fusin about plated Greaves, and this is like one of the few supporters that can go plated Greaves is Glacius, because normally you want them to get maybe Steam Boots, because most supports have issues with their mana, but obviously with the Chilling Presence, increase the max mana, you can afford to go like plated Greaves, unlike most supports really can't. So kind of interesting in that respect. And plated Greaves is such a great item, and if no one else is going to pick up like a Sackstone, I think someone should have the plated Greaves, just picking up the team fight items, and obviously the cores aren't going to pick them up, so the supports should instead.
Top lane, Silhouette, that is a fake, remember. It's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, if they actually go in,
AFK.
She's like AFK to stand there taking some volcanic touches. Like, yeah, I would hope they wouldn't go in. So they do not fall for it, and good for Recent Gaming's sake right there, especially with where things are at. So. Energizer picked up by Boxy, by the way, so that's going to be his item of choice here on top of the Ghost Marchers. It helps him be, again, the Ephemeral Forge, you can actually use items as well. When you,
Codex time.
Have that. Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's why I put that on the recommended items, man. And then, in the spotlight, get that Codex. OP. No, but yeah, so it makes sense here getting an item like Energizer as well. And actually, going to try something at the bottom lane, it looks like. Using that Ephemeral Forge. Again, kind of sneaking by in a sense. Solstice. He has a TP. He's going to... No, is he going to use it here? He knows something's up. Here comes Mora. Mora shards a Harkon. Can she get in range? Maybe no. There's a portal key for Solstice. He just got... Is he going to sell it? Or is he going to keep it?
No, he'll keep it, because when you buy a portal key and then use it, you can't sell it.
Yeah, you can't sell it, okay.
Well, you can. Obviously, it's half price, but that would be completely useless.
Yeah. So they did... I was wondering... Okay. I think that there used to be a time where you could actually do that, I thought, but you might have fixed that. Or change that, or balance that even in a sense, because yeah, that is pretty OP. But anyways,
so I think it's the same with like if you buy like an activatable item, you can't use it. But like Life Tube, you can buy Life Tube and sell it again, because obviously it's not activatable.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so thought I was gonna try to mix a big place like that, but no, that would have just been stupid. That's why he's a pro player and I'm not.
But I mean, he bought portal key last time as well, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Gets it once again here.
It's a great initiator actually, and I mean most initiators are just great with portal key because it helps them land better executions and better initiations, put simply. But
yeah,
it's kind of interesting how like a lot of these heroes are built differently depending on what kind of pro player you speak to. Like Slaps would always go like Insanitarius and Abyssal, but Near's like no, need portal key, so kind of cool.
Yeah, like just because this hero's a certain played a certain way by one guy, it's be played a completely different way by another, and that's definitely the case here. With the Solstice play most certainly. So again, the obvious downside of a portal key is like it doesn't really keep that, it doesn't enhance that farm in any sense, other than maybe a little bit of mobility from one creep jungle to the next. But you see, Moira, that's a fake Moira, right?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, and it's obvious too. It's not like it's a.
Look at him though. Like he can farm so aggressively. Yeah. It's just by the help on Ancients. It's like, and he gets obviously XP as well from it. So I guess. I mean, I think the hero is really, really strong. She picks up Ironstone as well, actually, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier. Actually, if there's one hero that's going to be good with an Ironstone, it's honestly her. Because, again, she can activate it with her Ephemeral Forge, so she can just port to the rune spot and pick it up and then be safe.
That's really cool. Man, this hero is really strong, actually.
I know, that's what I'm
surprised we're not picked it up.
Like, it's one. I'm glad that we're seeing it, because, again, the reason why she's picked up in this case was for Oogie, but hey, we're seeing it even without the idea of the counter to Oogie. She's clearly a powerful presence on the map. So
there's so much ways to play. Like there's so many little features that you can do with her. Like normally most heroes only have like one or two sort of features that you can sort of use and abuse. But Mora, there's so many different things. Obviously, like the heroic hero from like loads of different things. It's kind of cool actually.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice little niche hero.
Well, again, though, I will say, I mean, you look at Oogie, though, he's 470 gold per minute. So, really, I know that they got the Moira, but, again, we're really going to get to see the true power of a Moira against an Oogie and how impactful that truly is. Now, at the same time, I mean, they have a Silhouette that's going to be putting in plenty of right clicks, too, with her farm. And then even Flux now with a full freaking Frostal Skull. Holy crap. 21 and a half minutes in. And Sanitarius Frostal Skull Steam Boots Flux. Wow.
Krakow Flux, man, 500 GPM standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to Reason though, it's that with this Oogie, it's that he's got loads of farm, but you can you look at his team and they have nothing. Like they've got the portal keys on their initiator, Solstice, Magmus, and Witchslayer, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Like unless Oogie is maybe 600 GPM, I don't know if you can literally 1v5 the whole team. Obviously, he's got the lockdown from his team, but will he be able to dish out the damage? I guess we'll have to see in the next team fight, and it's coming very, very soon actually.
Yep, Silhouette coming in right here. You see they're trying to find a chase, but not really going to be the case here. I will say this. Veiled Rod has been used I don't even know if we've seen a Veiled Rod attempt yet in now 22 and a half minutes. And last game, it was seen like every 30 seconds, it felt like, by Tree. So I wonder if they kind of felt like...
I think last game was very close, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the last game... Yeah, I say one, for example. One example doesn't really...
Yeah.
Anyway, last game it was very, very close. I mean, if you think about when Tree played Sync as well, Sync dominated him in laning phase, and as a result, Tree couldn't do a lot of smoke ganks, for example. So.
Well, we'll see here, and I also kind of wonder too, maybe a little mentality of like, okay, maybe we did overkill it. We used a lot of gold to do it constantly.
That's true.
We ended up losing the game in the end, so. And maybe figuring here, being a little bit safer with it. Moira bottom lane, charge of Harkon. No, good portal key reaction from Magnus. Now, if she actually used her W, her mana sucker.
Yeah, I was going to say, perhaps you could have done that, but maybe
really
not.
Think about that. Maybe that was just Boxy assuming that the Shards of Harkon would hit. Again, Shards of Harkon, it's kind of a funky ability. It activated initially, like, right away, but then also it takes another second or so. Yeah, after a 1 second delay, it actually will then do it again. So it's, like we saw right there, maybe you just expected to hit him right away, but it did not, so... Just keeping that in mind if you're a Moira player.
Shrunken picks up on Silhouette actually, and sometimes I mean, like whenever you play Silhouette, like you never ever want to buy a Shrunken Head, but sometimes you sort of forced to, kind of thing. Like it's one of those things with Gemini as well. Like you never want to buy a Shrunken Head, but sometimes you are forced to, and I think in this game it is definitely needed. Like not because of the damage per se, but I think just because of the control. Like Witchslayer, Magmus, and even to an extent, Solstice can all stun him. If Solstice sort of stuns someone next to him, for example, he will still get stunned. And just with those three stunners, like Silhouette, you want to be mobile. You want to obviously be dancing around the team fight. And if you've got that much control, it's just best to build up a stronger head and go from there. Just not have anything to worry about in terms of the team fights.
Yeah. I see Flux down here. Geez, so much right-click damage. Especially at this point of the game, and you see Silhouette, 4 Silhouettes all of a sudden here. One of those was real, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. One of them is real. Yeah. Okay. This hero, man. I mean, it's impossible to tell right now. Like literally impossible. There's no way. Unless now we can talk because of ghost marches and everything, but they're just so similar. Even the skin especially doesn't help.
Yeah. He's got Nullstone as well.
And Nullstone. It's like, yeah. What? How am I supposed to tell? All right. Let alone the opponents. So, yeah, no. That is the point, though, to be fair. That's the idea of the hero. Middle lane, Oogie, he's in trouble. If this is a pick on Oogie, this is going to be huge. He gets pulled in right there. Oogie, he might not have enough for a buyback if he dies right here, so that could be dangerous, but actually he's going to be fine.
They didn't want to dive. Yeah. Riftwalker and Moira weren't there, and Oogie's so tanky as well. They didn't want to dive past tier 2 tower, so
yeah.
Playing it safe.
And maybe Conqueror? I mean, they're in the vicinity. You see a Ward of Sight here by TP's Priceless.
I think they could do it. Flux could just tank. He's so tanky.
Yeah. No
Silhouette
does. Or anything like that. Yeah, no. So they're going to be kind of seeing. Now, again, you can see on this radius here, the vision, it doesn't go all the way to Conqueror, but they can see kind of people sneaking in. So it should be fairly obvious that it's going on. But
I'm pretty sure they know, but I don't think they can teamfight, though. They're down 10,000 gold, and Silhouette, Strong and Head, Frostwolf, and like I can't state how big Frostwolf and Sanitarius is in Flux. Like they are simply not killing him in team fights at all.
No.
So pick up the token on the silhouette, of course.
2,700 life at 26 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean.
it's just disgusting, mate. Absolutely
chance.
disgusting.
Oh, Oogie though, 2,100 life. Again, and the fact that he can heal constantly is that's also scary in itself. And with the shrunken head, of course, as we're talking about. Now again, they do have a physical presence with silhouette. So
what's ridiculous though is that Flux is actually out farming their position 1.
yeah, I feel like TP's Priceless does that a bit. Kind of just randomly DCs on the reconnects right away. Just a quick fix issue, I guess. Speaking of him, too, he's only level 6. The fact that he's level 6 is obviously good, but wow, he is under-leveled, man. Compared to the next closest is a level 10 Glacius.
Yeah, but then look at him. He's 0, 1, and 0. That's why. Like you compare him to like a level 10 Glacius who's 1, 0, and 5. Brute was obviously farming the jungle, so he doesn't really count. But it's all about getting the early kills or early towers. I mean, he's got a couple of towers, but Tree I think have 1 more, and obviously TPS Price is not involved in team fights, so he cannot get any sort of golden experience as a result.
Bottom lane, Silhouette going to farm it up down here. Again, that is the real one currently, but she has the illusion to port to if need be. Or does she? No, she actually doesn't. No, never mind. She doesn't have the illusion to port to, but and it was going to be fine. More so, Riftwalker was nearby, so not the biggest deal in the world. Riftwalker already with that Storm Spirit too. Made a priority to get that at him there against this Oogie, and the initiation jumps from the likes of Magnus and Solstice especially. So Solstice, a very aggressive farm right here. He's actually not being spotted though, apparently. As Glacius is coming over. There's a Flux pull, and now Moira's actually porting with the Ephemeral Forge. You got the Shards of Harkon. Gonna stun Magnus. Has a portal key, by the way. He's it right there. And there's that Mana Sunder. Magnus not able to stun away as a result initially, but again, he felt pretty confident it's going to be fine. So, yeah, Boxy just trying to distract him. Again, that's a tool, though. It's with that Ephemeral Forge. You can just use it to try to bait things out and scare them off, if anything. And that he kind of does right there. So, and wow, he's keeping going. Jeez. He got a portal key, though. So, yeah, Boxy's doing solid here.
I think I like it. I mean, like, it's decent, obviously, because he has even greater catch, but also decent initiation with the Arcane Vortex, for example. If he's staying out of the team fight, and Magnus gets like a big 4 or 5 man eruption, he could just portal key in and then Arcane Vortex and then sort of instantly cancel out the initiation. So I think it's a decent item, and it sort of synergizes quite well with the hero as well.
So, yeah, I'm looking at Moira's ability here just to clarify again, the Mana Sunder. So it does the destroying all their mana, dealing 4 times their intelligence and magic damage. So, you know, that's a level 4, of course. So the more I'm looking at that, you figure Oogie right now. I know he doesn't have the most intellect items, to be fair. It's going to be, probably a little bit more than this. But right now it's only at 86. So
Solstice.
You figure that's not the greatest amount of damage. But yeah, Solstice bottom lane, he is in a little bit of trouble. Arcane Vortex catches. And you see the burst potential after. There's the Mana Sunder just in case.
And look at Moira, like she's like halfway across the map, yet she's still like beat. Like if they don't have Moira, I don't think they kill the Solstice. So.
Oh, probably not. No. Is that? Nope. Look at that too. Nice play by Silhouette. Actually swaps it as she was being jumped. And you mentioned Witch Slayer. We're talking about counter picks. Obviously, again, Witch Slayer, a great counter pick, as he pointed out, to a Silhouette. So that could be a saving grace for reason too throughout this game. But
it's just hard. Like you can't almost catch Silhouette because obviously Witch Slayer has to use 2 spells, the E and the W, or I guess you could instantly stun as well, but even that might be a little bit too slow. And as long as Balthazar's quick on the reactions, he can just easily TP out. Or, not TP, but swap out. Sorry.
Savage Mace, by the way, on him. Yeah, I mentioned the Shrunken Head's Null Stone, so now it's a Savage Mace, almost like a Draconis-esque build right here. So coming out and actually. They're going to be pushing. They're going to be pushing, so this is tough times ahead for Reason Gaming. There goes the Sheep. Honestly, obviously he knows that's a real one now. Get some good damage right there. Has that token. Jeez, she's going to basically die. He's almost accepting death right there.
Well,
I think it caught her off guard, honestly.
I think she must have been really low. I didn't actually see the time, but it must have been incredibly low, I'd assume. But.
Well, she started at full life. I mean, that was just simply a lot of burst that came out over like 3 or 4 seconds, and so she eventually died right there. But here we go with the pull in from Flux. Magnus going to be the initial target, it looks like. Yes, the Mana Sunder. Not enough for the kill. It finally will finish him off, though. Silhouette chases him down. Arcane Vortex was in the background on Oogie, but now he comes out. The Wormhole does catch Solstice back here. But Oogie, he's free reign right now with that Shrunken Head. He's looking to pick somebody off. Go over Flux, but Flux is alive. The Insanitarius is right there. What a play by Krake. Staying alive, and it's a 4-for-1. Making a, whoa, no, never mind. 4-for-0 exchange. Well, now it's a 4-for-1 as Riftwalker a little bit too far, but
What the hell?
GG, well played. Wow,
Wow,
game
man.
3 coming at us as a result right here. What a game for Willowkeeper, man.
Definitely.
That was
we
fun to
didn't even get to
watch.
see the full extent of Moira,
Yeah.
but even like Moira wasn't even really that useful against Oogie because we didn't even get to see it really. But still, the hero itself, if we disregard any kind of impact against countering Oogie, just the hero itself was having a big impact though, getting involved in ganks, taking away a lot of farm from the enemy heroes, and yeah, man, the hero was working very, very well. But I think the most biggest factor was obviously Tree just winning the laning phase very, very well. Flux dominated mid against the Witch Slayer, which could arguably be a questionable point about the draft. Like, I was talking about Witch Slayer and how it's a very good hero against Silhouette, and it is. But normally you see it in a secondary support because core Witch Slayer, either it works perfectly or it fails miserably. In this case, it failed miserably, and just didn't have any impact.